Welcome to lunchtime. I am so glad that you're here and at the lunch table today. We have so much planned that we're going to talk about today. Oh my goodness, it is amazing just to think about all of the things that are coming within the next couple of months. I mean, between November, well, in fact, between Halloween and the end of November, we have a ton of things that we need to do. And so today, we're going to talk about a few of those, about 5 tips for your holiday table. But before we get started with those tips, I first want to welcome all of you to the lunch table. And also, for those of you who are a part of the family, mwah, 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 I'm so glad to have you here. And those of you who are new to the family, oh my goodness, it's always special to have a new face at the table. So I am definitely enjoying every second. To all of you, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to see you, that you're here. And I'm going to suggest that you put your thinking caps on, because today we're going to think about some things that we need to have, and some things that we might want, and some things that it would be helpful if we do in advance and get it all, that part, out of the way, so you don't even have to think about it. So first, hello, hello, as you're coming in, I'm so happy to have you with you today, with me today. I am all over the place. I'm telling you, I've been thinking, my head, hey D, my head has been spinning. I had so many things that I wanted to talk about. It was almost hard to try to narrow the subject down when I put the information in the description box. It was kind of like, okay, I need to talk about this, talk about this, talk about that. And we need to get it done, because if we work hard now, then we can kind of play later. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to take care of those things that are just going to make it more easy for us when we get into the kitchen later on. So I am just so glad that all of you are here. Oh, good. You voted. Wonderful. Early voting. I've got to do that this week as well, because even though the big guy and I work at the polls, I try to do my voting first, and to get that out of the way before the official day of voting comes, election day comes. So we're going to take care of that. So wonderful, wonderful. I'm so glad. First of all, I want to show you a few things that have come along during this month. You know, we're working through this month, and as I started to look at my menu plan, hello, hello, as I started to look at our menu plan, I wanted to make sure that we tapped into the fact that we don't wait until the end of the month to try to start developing the next plan for the next month. And to also keep in mind that while I do the 1 month, okay, but each week I have a list of those things that I plan to prepare for that particular week. And I do it that way so that I can pull the things out of the freezer that I need. And I have those things already in the refrigerator waiting to just be used. And so that helps. It helps, because then we have a plan. We use our plan to do a little more planning. But without a plan, then it really makes us run around. So we don't want that. So before I get any further, I picked up, I'm kind of a vintage person of sorts sometimes. And I'm really very, let me see if I can say it, eclectic, in that I like vintage. I like some of the modern. I like a little bit of everything. But you know what? When it comes to getting into the kitchen, for those of us who are home cooks, sometimes we want to go back. and look at those recipes that were some of the earlier recipes that our moms, our grandmothers may have even used at that particular time. And so often those recipes are lost. And so if you're lucky enough to have your grandmother's recipe book, then you're lucky. You are really lucky. Or even your mother's grand recipe, whether it's recipe cards or it's recipe books. Well, I stumbled along in a bookshop and I stumbled into Fannie Farmer. How many of you remember Fannie Farmer? Oh my goodness. Fannie Farmer had the best recipes along the way. And I have had so much fun. It's like sitting and reading just your favorite novel, because Fannie Farmer was a homemaker and a home cook. And when she put this book together, it's as if she poured out of herself everything that she thought homemakers and home cooks needed. And I mean, it is a wealth of information. And I'm trying to get back. There's almost 600 pages to this book, and it's small print, I might add. And I love her recipes. I see you, Denise. I'm with you. I love Fannie Farmer. And so I was able to get this book at one of the little antique shops for $8. Can you believe that? If they had had two, I would have picked up two. But this was the only one they had. So this is a treasure. Now, I went to Amazon as well, because I thought, if you're not lucky enough to pick it up at a bookstore, or even you might be able to find it at the library. And, I'm all about getting books from the library. The only problem is when I find things that I really like, and a lot of things that I like, I don't want to return it to the library. I want to be able to keep it. So this is going to be on my shelf of cookbooks. It's the 1896 Boston Cooking School cookbook. This is her original. And of course, down the line, it ended up getting a facelift, and you got a nice cover. And I thought, wow, $8. I couldn't believe, for 600 pages. Oh, I was so excited. So Fannie Farmer is going to be, I'm going to delve through here. And when I start to look at some of those things that we're going to be doing in November, I'm going to be referring to Fannie Farmer. Now, I hope that if you did not get a chance to prepare that Mediterranean bean soup that we put together on Saturday, let me tell you, by day 2, it was so good. It's amazing how when you prepare soups and the flavors have a chance to just marinate throughout that soup while it's sitting in the refrigerator. And the next day, it is the bomb. Well, that's what we did on Saturday, and it was certainly good. And I ended up with, I think I'm not sure if I posted the pictures in the community page or not. If I didn't, I will. But when I took the soup, I put it into its containers ready for the freezer. I left 2 containers in my refrigerator, and the rest of it I took out to the freezer. So I actually have several days of soup, of that particular soup, ready for the freezer. So, you cook for today and you save some and put it in your storage. It is so good to see all of you. Wonderful, wonderful. Now we're going to talk about, when I say we're going to talk about tips for your holiday table, that's going to include quite a few things. Because when we think about our holiday table, first of all, there's a decision that needs to be made in advance. You're going to look at your numbers. And even if you're having a small group, or if you're having a huge group, you still have to be able to work through the table, what you're going to do with it, how you're going to set it up. Now, I'm kind of a buffet girl, and I like buffets because I don't have to clutter my table. I can put decor on the table, low decor on the table, so we can still have conversation. And then everyone can come to the buffet, get what they want, including the kids, and then we can go back to our particular places wherever we're seated. And oh my goodness, I'm looking at Love in My Life here. And she says, I had to stop because I caught that. She has a Good Housekeeping cookbook from the 1940s. It was a used bookstore find. Oh my goodness. And a Betty Crocker from the 1950s that was her mother. Oh, isn't that wonderful? I have my mother's Betty Crocker. And it's so neat because she's gone. And but the neat thing is that I can go through that book. I see her handwriting, her little notes that she made, and additions and changes that she's made along the way. And it means so much. It really does. It just brings back those warm memories. It doesn't make you sad. It makes you smile because you know that when you're working in that kitchen as a home cook, she's right there with you, or your grandmother right there with you as you're working through that recipe. So let's get back to our table. Now, so when we're setting up our table, there are some things we need to look at. And I'm going to take you through some things. First of all, whether you're setting up a buffet or whether you're going to have the food on your table, you need nice serving dishes. And I'm not saying they have to be expensive. I typically don't put the aluminum pans on my table. If I'm having a buffet, sometimes I'll set the aluminum pans up and have the flames under them so that they can stay, whatever it is, can stay hot. And so having that type of setup. Now, also for things like macaroni and cheese, your corn pudding, your dressing, those are things that you can put in a beautiful dish. And your green beans, your Brussels sprouts, your asparagus, whatever it is that you're going to have green, those items will go in nice bowls, nice dishes that you may have. Now, you know what? I happened to take a quick run through the Goodwill, and I was over there. Yeah, it's bad. I was taking things to the Goodwill, and the door called me and said, "Come, come and see what I have." So I had to walk in, and of course, I go straight back to the kitchenware. That's my first stop. And I went back there to see what might be available. And there were dishes, just eating dishes, plates, all kinds of dishes, holiday dishes that were still sitting there that no one had gotten yet. They had beautiful glassware that was there. They had serving dishes, depending upon what you want. And you figure if you're going to pay maybe $3 for a really beautiful serving dish, then that's a good thing, rather than having to pay 9, 10 or more for a nice serving dish. You can go to the Goodwill or go to an antique store and find some of those dishes that you can use. And if it's not quite something that you really want to be able to store, you can always gift it back. And it allows someone else to have that for the next holiday. So that's kind of, sometimes I do an exchange. I'll use it for what, say for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then by New Year's, I've already taken it back to the Goodwill. So that gives us a chance to have something very beautiful and sometimes very unusual on your table. Now, that's our serving dishes. And I don't know about you. Do you have any of your mom's serving dishes that you may have had? It could be platters, because I know my mom was big into platters. And when it came for the turkey, you needed a turkey platter. And so she had that. And it was so nice. I still have several of her platters, and I love using those when I have a chance. Now, another thing to think about when you're setting up your buffet or your table. Now, I'm going to start with the buffet because I really believe in my heart that the buffet is just so much simpler. You can set up your dining area or areas. If you have the guys at the television so they can watch the game, the girls are in the dining room where they can chit chat and have girl type conversations. The kiddos are in their section and they're giggling and wiggling and doing all of their great things. But everybody can come to the buffet. Now, the cool thing is, Ronnie, I'm laughing. I'm gonna come back to that comment. But the cool thing is that your buffet is set up. You've got everything you need in place, and you can kind of walk away from it and be the hostess with the mostest and have some energy left. And I love being able to do that. I love buffet styles, and we do that in my family. We do that at just about every family gathering we have. I see India Princess. She says that they have a buffet style with their family as well. And it is so much easier. And it's very nice. You can make it as elegant as you like or as simple as you like, depending upon what the occasion is. Now, I brought some things over, and you're going to laugh because I'm going to take you to some places you may not be ready to go. And it was funny when I was thinking about this. I had a friend with me when we were going around and we were looking to see what was out there. And she was laughing because every time I would get close to some Christmas items, she would go, no, not the Christmas. And she just wasn't ready to see Christmas. But you know what? It is knocking at our door. So once Thanksgiving's over, it is time to start thinking about Christmas. And it's not too early to start looking for some of the things that we're going to be looking for. So think about your buffet. I usually get a sheet of paper and I put a place on there for my centerpiece. I have a place for each of the platters of the foods that are going to be served. If someone's bringing something, I have a spot for it with a Post-it note. And later, a little bit closer to the holiday, I will show you the whole buffet setup so that you can see how easy it is to put that together. Now, let's talk about our real table, and I'm going to think dining table because that's the table where you want that to be your most special table, regardless of who gets the dining room. If if it's a mix in the dining room, that's fine. That's up to you and your family. I know in our family, typically it kind of gets split and everybody's everywhere. So, and that's a good thing. Now, I'm going to start with those things that I love. And no, I'm not going to bring out Christmas first, but I am going to give you some ideas. Now, depending upon your style, and that's something to think about when you're thinking Thanksgiving. I'm kind of a warm, fuzzy kind of person in that Thanksgiving is truly that time. We give thanks every day. I am certainly thankful every day for the food that we have to eat. But the true meaning of Thanksgiving was truly about having food to eat, having food to eat. When way back, many, many, many years ago, when the first original Thanksgiving table came along, they were so thankful to have food on their table. And so we have carried that tradition over the years. Now, for them, it wasn't about how pretty the table was. It was just the fact that everybody could sit down, had a place at the table, and was able to eat. Now, so I'm going to pop a few things before you. Now, first, I'm kind of a charger girl. I like chargers because they are able to, it keeps your table cleaner. You may be a tablecloth person. If I'm setting a very formal table, then I'm going to lay a tablecloth. It could be white, it could be gold. It just depends on whatever the occasion is. But I'm going to start on my place setting is going to always start with a charger. And the charger is there. It's there as that little spark of something special, but it's also there to protect your table. So keep that in mind. Also, on those days when we really are a little more comfortable, if you're more into farmhouse, then you may want a charger if you're into the black and white, and that's your thing. If that's a part of your theme for that particular holiday, then you can certainly add a black and white charger. Now, my black and white charger came from Hobby Lobby, and this one, which is I have particular dishes that I use this one with. It actually came from Amazon. Now, my favorite season is coming. This is our tartan plaid for the Christmas holiday. Now, let me tell you, if you're looking for something unique for your table, this was not easy to find. I had to shop in order to find this. And as it turned out, I had almost given up. And then I ran into it. Let me tell you, I paid the shipping. I had them to ship it to me and to ship enough for 8 to me. And that's typically what I try to go with is 8. And I always try to have something that I can mix if needed, if I need those additional settings. But this is something to keep in mind for the Christmas holiday. And remember, once you have your holidays, I know if I'm setting up multiple rooms, each room has a different charger with a little different flow to it. So like the fellas who are watching football, they're going to have chargers, and they will probably get because they could care less, really. They're all about the game. They're probably going to get this, in there is rough and tough, and they're happy, and it helps to keep the table clean. Now, this is one that I love. I don't know if you can see. It has little poinsettias. It's got the berries, and it is in silver. I like being able to mix the silver and the gold, and I just think it adds a lot. The typically I use this in the dining room, and this came from Tuesday morning. But I noticed that Ross just recently had something very similar. And I thought, that would be a great opportunity. I didn't pick up the one that was at Ross because I already had 8 of these. But if I wanted to, add that silver to another table, then I could certainly do that. let's talk about, now this is a little placemat, and you can throw it in your, I put these in my dishwasher and wash them once they're used. This is one I found. You can see it has that little silvery effect to it. I could even put the silver charger on it and it will pick up the silver. Or I could even go and get that tartan plaid and add it to this particular placemat. But placemats are always, always something that you can put down on your table. I am all about trying to save a table because I recently purchased a dining room table cover, the heavy duty table pad that you put. But I went for years just because at that point they were so expensive to purchase, and I had other things I needed to do, so I didn't buy a table pad. But I found a place called Affordable Table Pads. I'll try to remember to put that down in the description box. But it was very affordable to get a nice table pad for your dining room table. And I tell you what, it is well worth it because it really saves you. And you aren't worried so much about things spilling on your table. And you can protect, you're protected. Now, let me go back because there's a um, couple of comments I want to come back to. All right, we're going to go back here. And Michelle, she says she has her grandmother's 1950 Betty Crocker picture cookbook. And she said it's definitely well used. And she says her daughter says willpower is the only thing holding it together. Willpower, absolutely, absolutely, because it's just so nice having those. Uh, Love in My Life says she loves the buffet idea. Everyone gets what they want. And she says she appoints the young people to carry the plates for the elders in the family that need help. That's wonderful. That is so nice. And what a lesson. What a lesson. And that's really what it's all about. We as home cooks, we wear all kinds of hats. And one of those hats is certainly gently teaching our young ones, our littles, how to be those who are older. Uh, this is the one I knew I was coming to. Ronnie's laughing. She said, I just purged the kitchen not too long ago. Yes, that's true. But I do purchase new dishware sometimes. Now, for Christmas or for Thanksgiving, to be honest with you, I have way too many plates. And I did purge some, I gave some away. But for the most part, I kept those because when I buy those kind of things on my own, it's going to be one of those treasures that I have the intentions of passing it down to the children. And so I buy very nice plates and settings for that. And but when I just want something that's a theme as such, and I tell you, this year I'm into the gingerbread. Um, for the holiday, I want gingerbread, I want candy canes, those kind of things. So I am looking at antique stores and the Goodwill and anywhere else I can go to find those little items that I can use on the table. And when the holiday's over with, they're going right back. They're going right back. I'm going to give them right back because I do not want to put them in the cabinet. But we will be able to, we're sharing. And I think that's good energy. Ronnie also says that she always serves a buffet. And, don't you love it? It is just so nice to be able to have that buffet set up and everyone's happy. Everyone gets what they need. And it's just, all the chatter and the giggles around the buffet. I just kind of stand back and watch because it just makes me happy. That's when I'm happy, when everybody's around that table. Um, Michelle said that she has her husband's grandmother's deviled egg tray and several other pieces from both of their grandmothers. Wow. You know what? Beautiful deviled egg trays are not easy to find. I have mom's, and it's crystal. And I tell you what, I protect that because you can't find them unless you happen to go in a really good antique store. And sometimes you can walk in and find those kinds of things in there. She says she does a buffet if we have a crowd. She has table settings if it's just there's 6 kids and children, grandchildren, and the group. So that's nice. Um, India Princess says just as long as everyone sits at the same table, all who can fit. Uh, it's about 75 to 100 of us total on the holidays. Oh my goodness. Woo! India Princess. What a crew. That is so much fun. That's a party. And I just think that's amazing. So you're really bringing, when you bring everyone together, you're doing it. It's almost like a family reunion where you're bringing everybody together for all ages, the works. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. Now we typically we can range anywhere from 30 to close to 50 sometimes. And yes, they're right here in my house. And we are all over each other. And I told you I have that bad habit of if I run into somebody who doesn't have a place for Thanksgiving or for Christmas and they don't have a family to sit down at the table with, I will invite them so they can come and have a meal with us. And that is an amazing opportunity when you have that many people. I love it. Um, let's see. She said it's a lot of people, and she said being Afro Latina, we multiply every year. More kids are due next year. Oh, that's neat. Don't you love babies? Having those babies around and getting passed from person to person, that's a good time. Oh, wow. Let's see what we got here. She loving my life grand says I love to attend or to host large family gatherings. I do too. You never know how the conversations will go. Yes, how those conversations are going to go. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's kind of like lunchtime. Sometimes we have quite a few conversations going, but that's what lunchtime is all about. Um, Denise came in. She said, "Oh my goodness, it's such a good cookbook find, and different themes in different rooms." Yep, that's what I do. And because by Thanksgiving, my Christmas is already up. So while the dining room has kind of a Christmas slash Thanksgiving look, it doesn't have, it won't have any of the autumn decoration in there. It's not going to be, there will be some Christmas that's in there. There's a tree that's in there. And there will be a little bit of the centerpiece will be more wintry rather than Christmassy. And then that way I can get away with being able to use it for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I like that. Um, Let's see. India Princess says, yes, the conversations go everywhere from cooking, school, marriage. Oh, I hear you. I hear you. I love it. I love it. We've got college folks of all sorts, everybody. That is an amazing thing. And that is something that that's what being the home cook is all about. Um, Oh, India Princess, you are so sweet. You know, it's fun. At lunchtime, we're able to sit down, all of us, and we are able to talk about what we're doing, what our plans are, what sounds wonderful. And, there's no judging, no determining. We're encouraging people to do fun things. Now, while I got you here, we've talked about we had a placemat, we had our chargers. Has anyone started looking at the napkins? I did. I did. I first went through, I was trying to decide. I really didn't want to buy napkins this year because I've got quite a few napkins. I had some, let me take you down, India. Okay. Now, I had this pattern. This pattern is one I got from Pier 1 just before they closed the store um, during COVID. I just happened to be in there, and they had these beautiful napkins. And it has a little burgundy, it has the greens, it has the golds, and I can use them. I can use them even for winter, but they're beautiful, beautiful napkins. And keep an eye out because I ran into Ross, and Ross and Home Goods had napkins very similar to these. I also used to serve a very more traditional table, and this is one that I had. It's very fallish, but it's in gold. And so when I'm doing more of a gold thing, then I will pull these out. I typically go with napkins that are at least 20 inches square. And that's just because I can do more with it. I can do more shapes and all kinds of fun things. Now, here's another napkin in a very pretty green. And you know what? Last year, actually at Christmas, I was able to pull off this napkin for both Thanksgiving as well as for Christmas because of the shade of green. This is almost the Grinch Who Stole Christmas's green. And so, because of that, I was able to get that green into both holidays. Well, no, I didn't do the Grinch, but I had plates that had a little bit of the green in the autumn, as well as plates that have this color green in for Christmas. So I could get those in. Now, this is one I'm sure all of you have seen. And I know I've seen a couple other creators who have had this one. Um, but this is the one, this is also a Pier 1. And as you can see, it has the words blessing and thankful and gratitude, share, grace, gathering. It is just, to me, the perfect message for Thanksgiving. And to be honest with you, I use it anytime because these are words that I think ought to be encouraged all the time. So I don't have a problem with because it says thankful and Thanksgiving, we and blessings, those are things we need all the time. So I use these all the time. I had to jump over da 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 into the red because this is the perfect time. I walked into Ross and the lady had this big cart. She was in the process of putting out Christmas decor. And one of the first things she took off were Christmas napkins. I grabbed 8 of the red Christmas napkins. Voila, they're done. Red, ready to go. She also had more stripes. Now, these stripes I use for both Christmas as well as the 4th of July because it's not really so candy cane-ish that you can't use it like with a blue napkin inside and pull off the red, white, and blue. So there's our red and white. But it is perfect for the gingerbread candy cane look. Then I also have done winter, and where you're dealing with winter, I want it white with silver. And I think, like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing in the dining room. And so I've got the white and silver napkin. And this came from TJ Maxx. And now's the time. If you see them, get them. Because if you walk out of the store, they're gone. They're gone. I can tell you, they're already gone. Let's see. Uh, oh, Dee. Dee's talking about her table. She says she ruined her dining room table with something that leaked. She didn't have a table pad. Oh, and didn't know about them then. Oh, Dee, I am so sorry. Were you able to sand it and maybe kind of do a refinish on it so that you could? That's what I did. I had a bad spot, and it was because somebody had a glass or something. I don't know what they had in there, but whatever they had, it kind of etched a little bit around the glass, and I didn't know that until the dinner was over. And so I just took a little hand sander, palm sander, and just lightly sanded, and then went back with some stain and polyurethane. And you don't even know it was there. You don't even know it was there. So keep that in mind because I'm telling you. And in fact, let me tell you this, I don't have one now because I got rid of it once I got the real table pad. But if you go to, I got mine at TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx usually, and Home Goods for sure, they have a white table pad and very inexpensive that you can lay on your table under your tablecloth, and it's waterproof. It protects your table and it has a backing on it so that even if you have now not something hot, but if you have something that's warm that sits on your table is still protected and you haven't had to pay hundreds. We're talking less, should be no more than $15. And you will probably, if you have leaves in your table, then you'll try to keep the whole thing. But if not, then you can cut it, save your piece, need it later. So that gives you an opportunity to be able to put it all together. Now, Ronnie, what are you saying? You use the table pad and you add the tablecloth over it. Yes. Yes, the tablecloth does slide, but the only good thing is that once you get everything down, and if you have a centerpiece, I usually try to make the centerpiece just a little bit heavy so that it secures the table pad as well as the tablecloth all in place, and it just gives it a nice good weight. And it's not tall so that you're able to still have conversation without a problem. Now is the time also, and I know some of you have already, you know your numbers, you know kind of what your menu is going to be, and you know it's time to think about: are you going to use glasses, or are you going to go with plastic cups? Now, for those of us who are a little bit old school, that wouldn't be me, would it? For those of us who are a little bit old school, hey, Grandma Sandy, how are you? Um, for those of us who are just a little bit old school, I love using glassware, but I only I don't want to make the kiddos feel bad by having plastic cups. So usually for the drinks, we all have plastic cups. That's the bottom line. And especially if I know we're going to have over 20, then we're going to have we're going to have plastic cups. If I have less than 20, then I can bring out the glasses and I'm okay. Now, what I will do for the kiddos, depending upon their ages, I actually use the little on the rock glasses. Let me pop one of those out while we're talking about that. I'll use the little short glasses, the little tiny on the rock glasses. I'll use those with the kids because it's large enough for them to put their hands around and they feel like they're adults because they have real glassware. And most of these, let me tell you, you can get these at Ross for almost nothing. And in fact, the Dollar Tree has them for $1.25. And so that gives you an opportunity that if somebody drops one, somebody breaks one, or something happens to it, it's not a big deal. And you're not out of a lot of money. But everyone else gets to have very nice glasses for what you're doing. And that kind of goes with the plates. I see Michelle. Michelle said she loves the feel of live video. She says she usually doesn't comment, but she said that we've made her feel so comfortable and welcome. Oh, that's so sweet. It calls us aunties. I love it. And I do. I love it. And it's funny that she says aunties because that's exactly what my nieces call me. I'm auntie, and so that is so sweet. I love that. And you know what? I love beautiful, beautiful napkins, and I am always on the hunt for lovely napkins. Now, these are some that I got, and I got these for almost nothing. I think there's 40 or so in the pack. And what I often do, let me show you the other one that I found. The other one that I found was this one with the orange. But it's not, it's not it has just a little bit, it's really not showing it on the camera, but it has just a little bit of spark to it with the fall leaves. But because it has white in it, I can serve it with chinette. If I did not want to have actual china, I could just certainly put some very heavy duty paper plates and match those up. So that's a pretty one as well. And but these, let me see, I'm going to pull them out so you can get a better look at them. See, these have nice colors. They've got all kinds of fall colors to them, but I like florals, as well as they have a little bit of have a little wispiness to it as well. So those are colors that are very easy to match if you're trying to set a beautiful table, a beautiful buffet, because these are the kind of things I have on the buffet, where I have the paper napkins with the plates, and I have cups that are going to go with the colors that are in the napkins. And nowadays it's so easy to find nice cups that you can use at any time. And typically you get more than you need. Now, one thing, you may do this, but I'm going to mention it just in case. if you're serving and you're using cups, be sure to have a couple of permanent markers close so that before the person uses the cup or even pours something into the cup, they'll write their name on it. Because I usually have about 4 different colors, and I try to alternate those colors in the stacks in the drink section. And but we make sure we have the name, everybody's name is on their cups. um, Mystical Heart says those pretty green napkins, yes, could definitely be used for Easter. Absolutely. Absolutely. I tell you, it's the perfect shade of green. It's not really a sage green, but it's real close. It's a little brighter than sage. Um, but I have just, I'm kind of, as much as I love having true blue sit down china glasses, all the little stemware, all the perfect silverware. I love that. But I am at that point that when it comes to large holidays, I'm just not doing that anymore, because I'm the one who, I myself and whomever else is going to come in the kitchen with me after dinner. They're going to sit down. They're going to want to take the time to help me put everything up, get things into the dishwasher. And that's just a lot of time that we could be doing more socializing and enjoying the moment. So remember, we are trying to enjoy the moment ourselves as well as enjoy our family. Uh, Ronnie said, "You're taking merchandise before it gets out on the shelf." Absolutely, absolutely, I did. The lady was she laughed. She said, I told her, I said, "Oh, you've got Christmas?" And she said, yes. She said, this is our first load of Christmas. And I was there when Ross opened its doors that morning. They opened at 9. I walked in the door at 9 o'clock. I spotted the red of Christmas and I was on it. And oh, I am so sick. Let me tell you what I did. I usually, if I see it and I want it, I try to get it right then because and Ross, you walk away, it's gone. They had the cutest red and white nutcracker. I had him in my hand and I talked myself out of it until I got to the car. I went to the car and I thought, do I really need a red and white nutcracker? He's so cute. And I thought, no, I don't need him. I don't need him. And then I was just about to back out of the spot, and I thought, let me go back in here and go get that red and white nutcracker because that's gonna worry me to death. And you know what? When I went back in there, somebody had it. Somebody had it. So I missed it. I missed it. I did not get to get that red and white nutcracker, but it was certainly cute. Mystical Heart. Oh, I hope so. You usually go to your sisters. You know what? You know what? Absolutely. But you know what? When I go to family members' houses, it's funny because everybody, and I'm going to say this lovingly, everyone is not as into how decorative and how pretty and all of that. And they're fun, and my family's funny because what they do is that they say, okay, we've handled the food. Here, Leona, go set the table. And I get to play with the tables. And they just know that's what I like to do. And that's what I get to do. Setting up a buffet. That's what I get to do. I get to do that part. And they don't mind. They don't mind. And I don't mind. So I get to go in and play. And so when I know that that's going to happen in advance, sometimes, and I do this especially if I'm going in in my son's house or going in my daughter's house, I always come in with one of those Michael shopping bags or TJ Maxx shopping bag. And the kids are always thinking it's something for them, only they get into the bag only to find, oh, Mimi, it's plates and napkins and da 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 da. Because I found something for their table that I think is going to be pretty, and I bring it with me. And so, just in case they didn't have time to do that, and I see Denise is right. People do not want to wash all the dishes. And so you go with paper plates, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm not the least bit offended, not at all. Um, Ronnie said she was just about to say, if you want something, get it. Don't wait. Because a lot of stores are not restocking their holiday merchandise. You're right. I went in Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby is just, I mean, Christmas everywhere. They are already at 50% off. And they've been at 50% off for quite a while. So that says to me that by the time we get to Thanksgiving, we should be looking at about 75% off. And those things that you really want, by the time you get to 75% off, they might not be there. So when I see it at 50% off, I typically try to go ahead and take care of that. Now, ladies, gentlemen, all of you who are out there, today, I have one more little thing before we close down today. Today is a special day in that, for me, in that it is National Black Poetry Day. And I love poetry. And last year at Christmas, my granddaughter had written a poem. And so on Christmas Day, she got to read her poem for the family. And that was a lot of fun. But today I'm going to share with you, because I don't know if I've already shared with you where the name of my channel came from. Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme are all persistent. They represent things that encourage your perseverance, encourage you to work your way through whatever it is that comes at you. Ivy's one of those plants you can cut ivy, cut it back, but it always comes back. Ebony is one of the strongest trees on the planet. And thyme is absolutely wonderful. And it's also one of those things that you can cut it back and it comes back. And in fact, it comes back even fuller and even better. And so there's a life lesson there when I think about an ebony, ivy, and thyme, because we are gaining strength in our kitchens and for our families. We're teaching our how to belong, how to whatever troubles there may be around them. And as you know, every day there is something that is going on that just kind of makes people a little bit timid about even as much as leaving their house sometimes or going to school. Our children and our families are dealing with so much. And so I I wanted to encourage all of us to build our strength, our strength. And as we build our strength is going to branch out to everyone around us. And we won't have to say anything. It's just they're going to be influenced by the strength that we have, and they're going to want a piece of it. And so let's encourage each other. Let's continue to inspire each other, because each one of us, whether you have a channel or not, it doesn't matter. All of us, families, every home cook, every homemaker has an opportunity every day to do something that inspires someone else. You know, guys, I love each of you. I love having the opportunity to sit and to talk with you. It is just so much fun. And we're going to inspire each other as we work through this holiday. Now, before we leave, and I want you to look down in the description box because I'm going to let me pop this banner up. I there it is. Let's see if it shows. Did it show? Show? Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm showing for just a few minutes my email. And the reason for my email is that I'm in the process of putting some documents together that I would like to be able to share with you. Recipes that are for the holiday, recipe ideas for the holiday, and just some things that little tips and tricks that you might want to be able to use. And certainly, you can certainly then send it to someone else who's, if you're not hosting, send it to your host. They might enjoy it as well. But they will be some tips and tricks that I can send to you. So if you would like to have this, it is down in the description box for you to be able to take a look at. And I will put it together and send to you my little holiday package that's going to be coming to you. Let me, I don't want the, it's amazing how quickly we can end up with people who are sending things to you that you don't want. And let me say to you, I will not give your information to anyone else. And certainly, because I don't want any extra stuff like that, even in my inbox. So, my goodness, my lunchtime buddies, it has been a wonderful time right here in the kitchen and at the table. So, we're going to talk a little bit more. And because we've got a lot to do between now and Thanksgiving. So we're going to be cooking it up. We're going to be prepping it up. We're going to be doing all of that right here in the kitchen. So God bless each of you this week. Have a wonderful time. Enjoy your family. And don't forget yourself. Give yourself a little love and a hug because we need a hug every day. So if everybody else forgets to give you that hug, hug on yourself and love on yourself. God bless you and have a wonderful Monday.